Hotter, more humid weather is coming for parts of the north, while in the south, the weather pattern's looking a little bit more unsettled. Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks very much for joining us. We're tracking the humidity today on the animated wind map. That's why we've got the bright blue colouring and dark blue around parts of New Zealand, and over in Aussie, the typical orange. So dry air right across much of Australia. You can see the humidity here. The brighter the blue, the more the humidity. And as you head over towards New Zealand, you can see that the North Island in particular and also the West Coast are looking more humid. So what's the difference between the North and the South? Well, in this setup, it's basically the temperatures. So over the next few days, the North is going to get even hotter. The South does have a surge of warm weather, but also some cooler air flows coming out of the Southern Ocean. And the last part before we move off this map, heat plus humidity feels warmer than it really is. So the overnight lows in the north last night around Auckland, for example, about 20 degrees. That's the overnight low for the next few nights ahead, but it might feel more like the mid-20s with humidity getting right up into the 90% range and cloud cover as well. Further south, the drier air, especially in the east, makes for cooler sleeping at night, but sometimes higher temperatures during the day with the drier weather. So you can be 32 degrees in Hawke's Bay and 25 degrees in Auckland. Both feel quite hot, and that's because it's more humid in the north than it is in those eastern areas. And you can sort of see that a little bit here on the map. It's not quite as humid. I'm not sure if you can see it as clearly as I can, but it's a little bit less humid over on those eastern areas. So let's take a look further forward on Thursday. What is going on? High pressure blocking rainmakers coming from the west. It's encouraging the rain to go further south, and that warm weather continues on as the westerly wind, but it turns a little more southwest in the North Island, and in fact you might find that a little bit more refreshing. Couple of showers in there though, so it's still humid. It's not as cool as you might think, because when you track the origin of that sou'wester, it ends up coming out of New South Wales and Queensland, so it's not exactly a cold, dry sou'wester, and a few showers in the mix once more. And look at the isobars in the South Island showing things getting a bit windier, and it gets windier still on Friday. Blustery conditions through some parts of the South Island, a few showers in there, and in the north also a little bit windy, but once again remember that the isobars are showing that's really coming out of the subtropics, so it's not a true southerly for those northern areas. The further south you go, the longer the wind has been blowing out of Australia, going all the way down to the Southern Ocean and curving around and back up, but it's still fairly mild, so you're not really going to feel much of a temperature drop. As we head in towards the weekend, high pressure parked where it's been for some time, and those hot nor'westers coming out of Australia getting closer towards us. It's a windy day on Saturday. We've got a storm in the Southern Ocean and a really big high up near the north. That's a great example as to why northern New Zealand is sort of hot and humid and calm, and southern New Zealand's getting changeable weather. It's because the Southern Ocean is very, very unsettled, and the highs, they're too far north to really protect the South Island for now. Now by Sunday, that hot weather comes out of Australia, goes across New Zealand. The red line means it measures air thickness, and basically what it's showing is it's getting pretty warm, pretty high up as well. So we've got a lot of warm weather coming out and across the country, humidity also being fed into that. So the feels like temperature could be 4 or 5 degrees above what the overnight low and daytime highs are suggesting. And in the south, there is a wee bit of a cooler change arriving. And when we get into Monday of next week, we've got the blue line here and the red line there. So you've got colder weather coming in to the south, and then further north, and not that further north actually, once you get to about Canterbury northwards, it's still in that hot airflow and subtropical and Australian. So an interesting setup, and what you can't see off the map is the next big high, which is coming later next week, maybe around Waitangi Day. So it is not all bad news, it's not all unsettled, and it's not all hot and humid, but certainly the heat is with us for at least another week around the north, and the unsettled weather in the south is with us also for about another week. That's all from me for today. We'll update you again tomorrow with the latest.